Way up.
Hey, what's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee on a Thursday. Feels like a Friday to me already, kind of. I've been all over the place, but glad to be here. Shout out to you. I was catching up on some things last night. We'll talk about that and about last night. But a lot of things happening also with this Diddy trial. I do want to say that people are making a lot of jokes and things about it, but it's really definitely not funny. And so we'll talk about some more updates that's going on. Also, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, this is still continuing on. I mean, just so much happening, but we got everything for you guys this morning, all of the updates. I know they're back in court today. Let's start with some love and positivity, because Lord knows we need it. Let's shine a light. 800-292-5150. Call us up. Let us know who you want to shine a light on. It's Way Up.
We gon' light the block up. I'ma shine. I'ma shine.
Turn your lights on, y'all.
Turn your lights on.
Spreading love to those who are doing greatness.
Shine a light on them. Shine a light on them.
It's time to shine a light on them.
All right, it's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's time to shine a light. And today, I want to shine a light on somebody who I've personally met a couple of times and who I love, but she also was recently honored. She got her honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree from Washington University, and she's been using her platform to champion mental health awareness, inclusion, and belonging. She also was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 1992, and she said that she told her therapist repeatedly that she was late for the appointment because of traffic, until finally shouting, "Because I don't want to talk about my childhood." And she said from then on, I think she scheduled her personal therapy sessions right after mine. So shout out to her. Can you imagine being in that audience with Jennifer Lewis being the speaker for you guys? Jennifer Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to her for that. She's also known as the mother of Black Hollywood, and she's always encouraging people to live in their own true selves, in their own light. All right. Well, who do you guys want to shine a light on? 800-292-5150. Hollywood, who do you want to shine a light on?
To my boyfriend Lawrence, a.k.a. Pun, from Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Okay, Lawrence. Would you say his name is a.k.a. what?
Pun.
All right. Well, tell me about him and why you want to shine a light on him.
He's just a good person. He works hard. He doesn't like the limelight or nothing. So I just want to shine a light on him and let him know he's doing good, and I'm proud of him.
That is so sweet. We need to do that a lot more often with the people that we love around us. That's your man, your man.
So being my man, my man.
All right. Well, shine a light on him, and thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Shine a Light. 800-292-5150. If you couldn't get through, leave a message, shine a light for last word. And when we come back, we have your Yeetie. Let's talk about Tory Lanez. You know, they did have a press conference, his team, and we'll tell you how Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer responded to that press conference. It's Way Up.
They say it's truth in the rumors.
From industry shade to all the gossip,
Talk to me.
Angela's spilling that yee tea.
Talk to me.
Yo, it's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's time for your Yeetie. Now, let's get into this Tory Lanez story. You know, he did get stabbed in prison, and he's recovering from that brutal prison stabbing, but his reps held a press conference, and what they are trying to say now is that Megan Thee Stallion's ex-best friend, Kelsey Harris, is the one who should be in jail for that shooting. Now, here is what Walter Roberts, who is the lead legal consultant, had to say about a bodyguard by the name of Bradley James, who is coming forward saying that he overheard Kelsey Harris admitting to firing the gun.
He was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Miss Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun.
All right. Now, my producer, Dan, is here. And, you know, just for some more context, this is Kelsey's security guard.
Correct.
And so later on, he's not saying he was present when this happened. Later on, he's saying he overheard
conversations.
Her conversation, which is I can't imagine having a conversation about something like this in front of people.
Yeah.
Where you're saying.
I hear that.
But, you know, this is what his claim is now in this case. And you know, they are trying to see about he's serving a 10-year sentence for this shooting, but it's not necessarily for the shooting, right?
It was possession.
It was
Correct?
possession.
Yeah.
So that still would not have to do with this, just to clarify.
Well, if he wasn't in possession of the gun.
Because what this claim is that Kelsey fired the gun 3 times and then he grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and that's what caused the gun to fire 2 more times.
There was also a previous testimony from someone else that claimed it was that the shots came from the passenger side of the car that Kelsey was on.
All right, now, Tory Lanez's father was present, and here's what he had to say about the conversation he had with his son.
He said, "Dad, I thought it was my last. And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, is this how it's supposed to end for me?" God said no. Upon which he turned to the attending officers and he said, "You must get me to wherever is the closest place that I can get to." He didn't even know his lungs had collapsed. All he knows is that he couldn't breathe. He could hardly speak.
You know, I can't imagine being somebody's father also, because any dad is going to ride out for their kid, you know, no matter what. And that is tragic, to be stabbed and almost killed in prison. So imagine that as a father. Here's what else he had to say about the conversation that he had, and you can hear him getting broken up about it.
Towards the end of our visit, he said, "Dad, why is it that my life has to go through so many trials? Why?"
All right. So, and there you have it. I do want to say, though, you know, as we're revisiting what happened with this, because he was convicted of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of a concealed unregistered firearm, and negligent discharge of a firearm. I think part of the issue was the way that Tory Lanez was acting.
Yes, I agree with that.
During this whole
That definitely
time,
did not
putting
help.
out albums, and
Not letting his lawyers do the talking.
all right. Well, that is your GT. When we come back, we have About Last Night. That's where we discuss what we did last night. I already told you guys. I was actually watching the game last night, because why wouldn't I? How could I not? Watching the Knicks play. Ooh, we're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to see. But I tell you what, they're making a lot more money now all around, because now the series is going longer.
That's a fact.
It's way up.
So, about last night. Here's how it went down.
It's way up with Angela Yee, and it's time for About Last Night. Now, of course, last night, I had to watch the game, and I thought maybe the Knicks were going to win and this would be the end of it, but I guess not. Dan, you were watching too?
Yes, I honestly thought Boston was going to win.
You did?
Yeah, they were
Even
back
with
at home.
Jason Tatum out. And
They had fresh energy, you know,
Yeah.
a little extra reason to win.
yeah, you got to, and they definitely put on.
I also wanted the Knicks to win in the Garden, so.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
You can come back home now and have them. What do you think is going to happen ultimately? It's 3-2 now.
I think the Knicks are going to win. Next game.
Okay. Because if they tie it up, boy, that is going to be.
I know.
That is going to be
Trouble.
crazy.
Trouble.
But of course, I was watching the game, and then right after that, I watched Basketball Wives. I haven't been in town, so I was like, all right, I got to catch up on what's happening. I keep seeing things online. You know, Evelyn and her daughter have a podcast where they're addressing all kinds of drama. But the main thing that's happening on the show right now is Evelyn does not like Jennifer's husband, Christian, and is calling him a felon. Her reason for this is that she says that Carl Crawford, that's her ex, one of his family members was swindled, she claims, by Christian. And on the episode, you can see Christian explaining what really did happen and showing text messages to back it up. But here is the argument that then happened, because Jennifer was quick to point out, well, what about your daughter having a baby with a quote-unquote felon? Here's what happened.
You like to bring up that Christian is a felon a lot, and your daughter has a child by a felon as well.
But the difference is that your felon is currently stealing money from people today,
Okay.
tomorrow, yesterday.
Whatever you say.
And let me tell
Whatever
you
you
something.
say.
You done talked about my daughter, and you done brought my daughter, but you don't
Okay.
got f***ing kids. Keep my daughter's name out your f***ing mouth.
All right, so it got very, very spicy, even continuing on after that. And I want you guys listening now to pick a side, because I saw a lot of people saying, well, Evelyn called Jennifer's husband a felon first, and they agree with Jennifer. But then I saw some people taking Evelyn's side, saying, well, you leave the kids out of it. You know, they had fell out before over Jennifer allegedly talking about Shanice. She's known Shanice since she was a little girl. So, you know, Shanice does not like Jennifer now, but we want to see who's right and who's wrong. Jennifer gets very defensive when you say things about Christian. And of course, Evelyn gets defensive when you talk about her child. So let's see what you guys think. 800-292-5150 is a number. Call us up. Pick a side. Dan, what are you thinking while you're standing there?
I would say Team Evelyn. I think she should keep daughter's name out.
And just focus on picking on
Come
me.
up with something else.
All right. Well, 800-292-5150. But when you attack someone that someone loves, it's like they coming right back at you. 800-292-5150 is way up.
It's not just right or wrong. It's about what you believe. It's time to pick a side and stay there.
It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it is time to pick a side. Today we are talking about Team Evelyn versus Team Jennifer. From Basketball Wives, here is the argument that happened with Evelyn criticizing Jennifer's husband, Christian.
You like to bring up that Christian is a felon a lot, and your daughter has a child by a felon as well.
But the difference is that your felon is currently stealing money from people today, tomorrow, yesterday.
Whatever you say.
And let me tell
Whatever
you
you
something.
say.
You done talked about my daughter and you done brought my daughter up. You don't got kids. Keep my daughter's name out your mouth.
Now, for full transparency, her daughter, Shanice Hairston, is 31 years old. She has a baby with The Game. That's who Jennifer is referencing. So what do you think, Team Evelyn or Team Jennifer? Dan, you said you are Team Evelyn?
So yes, but I mean, the thing is, I just understand Evelyn's motherly instincts to come at Jennifer for coming at her daughter like that. So I understand why Evelyn went that way, but, Shanice is 31 years old. She's pretty grown. But what do you think? Whose team are you on?
I would say Team Jennifer for this because, truthfully, Evelyn was the one who started with calling her husband a felon. Jennifer is so protective over her relationship and criticism. Your friends shouldn't be doing that if they're your friends. And she even called Jennifer dumb and said, and that's supposed to be your friend.
Yeah.
And so regardless of how you feel about who somebody has chosen to spend their life with, publicly, I wouldn't be coming at them like that. And I also, if I privately had something to say, I would do it that way. All right. Well, let's see what you guys think. 800-292-5150. Nyla, pick a side. Team Jennifer or Team Evelyn?
Team Jennifer, because Jennifer is right. Evelyn's daughter is with a felon, and not only is he a felon, he's a felon who was charged with dealing with minor children.
Okay.
She has nothing to talk.
It's interesting because Evelyn did kind of start this. I feel like you can be supportive of your friend, but Evelyn did say it was somebody that she knew that claims that they got swindled, and you kind of got to get all the facts. And Christian actually brings up the text messages that he had with the women who Evelyn is saying got swindled, and it didn't feel like he swindled her in those text messages. All right, well, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Hey, Nikki.
Hey.
So listen, Team Evelyn or Team Jennifer?
Team Jennifer.
Explain why.
Everybody is talking about, kids, but when I think of kid, I think of somebody under 18 or 17. Her daughter is way over that. She's having sex.
If she has a kid.
And I'm on your right, and I'm on your side. Mm-hmm. When you attack somebody that you love, you gonna come for them, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like no holds barred. It's like a rap battle.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for calling. So that's 2 for Jennifer.
Thank you.
Hey, Tamara, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Angela?
I'm good. So are you Team Jennifer or Team Evelyn?
I am Team Jennifer.
Okay, tell us about it and why.
The reason why, I've been the Evelyn before. I had a friend who I despised her man. I realized the more and more I harped on it, it drew us further apart. And to be a good friend, you have to be their friend with whatever they're going through.
Right.
And I feel like at this age, Evelyn is a grown woman. Let Jennifer make the decisions that she wants to make in her life. And if you are her real friend, you will be there for her when she falls.
Okay. No, I feel you on that. Look, I was, in full disclosure, I was at Jennifer's wedding in Paris.
I know. I remember you saying that.
Yeah. And so no matter what, look, if there's concerns, go to your friend with the concerns. If this is what she wants to do and who she wants to be with, support it.
Exactly. And that's all she needs to do as her friend, if you're saying you're her real friend.
All right. Well, thank you for calling.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Well, that was clearly Team Jennifer of everybody that was calling in today. And just so you know, these calls were picked at random. And when we come back, we have your Yeetie. Let's talk about Chris Brown. He was arrested. We'll tell you the allegations against him. There's so much going on, y'all. I can't even keep up. It's way up.
Yo, she about to blow the lid up off this pot.
Let's get it.
Oh, yeah. Angela's spilling that Yeetie.
Come and get the tea.
It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's time for your Yee Tea. Now, let's talk about this Joey Badass versus Ray Vaughn, who's on TDE. Their battle back and forth. It feels like this is just really gonna be on wax until it gets more and more personal. But, you know, this in January, we saw that Joey Badass put out The Ruler's Back, and he had some things to say about the West Coast in general. Obviously about Kendrick as well. And Ray Vaughn responded with Crash Out Heritage. And then during this Red Bull Spiral freestyle, here is what Joey Badass had to say.
And I ain't taking no words back, I'm it on that. This ain't gotta turn to nothing else, just keep it on rap. First off, I could never hate the West Coast. But since it's coming for Joe, then let's go. Took it must have forgot what I said on Control. There's still a bunch of sensitive rappers in their pajama clothes, I guess. This ain't no East versus West, I just think that I'm the best. As a matter of fact, I know.
All right, so listen, very, very good that he said it's just going to be on wax. That's all this is. And that's what it should be. Well, here is what Ray Vaughn had to say. He actually put out Ho Era. Here's what he said.
You made a whole EP, copping please. What? Black man, let him breathe, let him breathe. Nah, oh, fuck that. Hang him from the popular trees. He had y'all food like he do it for the sport. Snoop Dogg kicking over his little fort. Watch, you ain't carrying no torch. You let Ice Spice turn it to the king of New York. What the fuck? Get active. Stop acting. Stop acting. Get active. Just stop acting.
All right, you got to listen to the whole thing, but obviously Ho Era is a shot at Pro Era, which is Joey Badass's thing. So yes, so the two of them, it'll stay on wax though. That's the promise. All right, now let's talk about Honey Baby. She recently was on Lip Service, and I, first of all, love Honey Baby, super talented artist. I had no idea that she had work done, and she was very honest about it. She even shouted out her doctor, because, you know, a lot of people will pretend and say, oh, no, I go to the gym, this is that, this is this. But she was very honest about having work done. Here's what she said.
This body was done by Dr. John. I got a 360 BBL. I just had like hip dips. And I just had no structure to my body. And so I just did my research on that. And then I noticed Drake uses him. And I love Drake. And I was like, yes, that's perfect.
Call him out.
Well,
BBL Drizzy.
No, all the girls
Drake
that
BBL.
Drake gets BBLs for goes to Junk.
Okay, so to be clear, she didn't say Drake got a 360 lipo. She was saying that Drake, he sends the women to this doctor, just to clear that up and clarify it. But she was honest about it and talked about, you know, how it gave her the confidence that she needed when she was on stage. And no matter how she worked out, she didn't feel like she would have been able to achieve that body that she achieved. Dan, who's my producer, he also produces Lip Service.
Yes, I do.
That was a great moment, though, for her to be honest about.
It was. Mm-hmm. She was very transparent. You can tell that she kind of like had reservations in the beginning to share it, but you know, you create a safe space for these women to have honest conversations.
And this was the first time she's talked about it.
Yes, it was.
Even her team was surprised. Like,
yes.
Okay, she gave y'all that. But anyway, the full conversation is great if you have a chance to check that out on Lip Service. And when we come back, it's time for Under the Radar. These are the stories that are not necessarily in the headlines. They're flying under the radar. But you know what we like to do up here. We like to give you those stories that you may not hear anywhere else. These tariffs, those are not flying under the radar. Just so you know, it's way up.
News. I got news. This in the news that relates to you. These stories are flying under the radar.
It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's time for your Under the Radar story. So Walmart is going to raise prices, and of course that's due to tariffs. They did not issue a profit outlook for the quarter because it's very chaotic with these tariff policies changing constantly. Also, Dick's Sporting Goods is going to buy Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. They said they expect to run Foot Locker as a standalone unit and keep the Foot Locker brands like Kids Foot Locker, Champ Sports, Atmos, and WSS. So, yes. All right. And lastly, I read this story and I thought it was fascinating. So a man in California admitted to scamming DoorDash, and he got $2.5 million in this scam. So, you know, I did a deep dive to figure out how was he able to do this. And this scam targeted the company between 2020 and 2021. So the person who got arrested, Sai Chatinya Reddy Devagiri, very complicated name, pleaded guilty, and this was 2 days ago, on one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. So the scheme that they would do, now Dan, keep up with me. So the way they did this is, it was a group of them that worked together. They used fraudulent customer accounts, and they would place high value orders. So picture you're ordering from like a super expensive steakhouse or something like that. And then they would use an employee's credentials to get to the DoorDash computer systems and software. And then they would reassign the DoorDash orders to some of the drivers that the driver accounts that they controlled. And then they would say, instead of in process, they would make the order complete. So they were basically getting paid for orders and deliveries that never happened. And so they made $2.5 million off of that scheme. I'm telling you, that is not something I've ever thought could happen, but very clever.
It's extremely well thought out. And it was also an inside job if they were using DoorDash credentials.
Yeah, no, it's a group of them.
Okay.
That were into that. So in total, the group stole over $2.5 million. They got payments through bank accounts that were controlled by the person whose name I couldn't pronounce that well, Deva Giriri, and 3 other people that were involved in this scheme. And they also used credentials that belonged to a person who used to work at DoorDash. So there you have it. All right. Well, that is your Under the Radar. Now, we do have the Way Up mix at the top of the hour. We are going to give you these Diddy updates. The reason we haven't done it yet is because we're watching what's happening in court currently. The defense is now, now they're going to be examining Cassie. So we'll see what happens on the stand today, and we'll give you all of that information. It's Way Up.
Way Up.
Just like to talk like they Angela Yee, like they Angela Yee.
Man, she's spilling it all. This is Yee T. Way Up.
All right, it's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's time for your Yee Tea. So there are new allegations against Diddy. A woman, Jane Doe, is suing him. She says they met in May of 2001. They hung out a few times without incident. But according to her allegations, things went south on their 4th meeting. After a night out at the club, he took her back to his apartment, leading her to his bedroom. And I can't even quote these things, so I won't. But she says that Diddy released his grip on her neck and then held her arm down using his other hand to unbuckle his belt before pulling out his penis, which appeared to be the length and girth of a large Tootsie Roll. She said she felt relieved by the size because she knew it wouldn't hurt so much when he raped her due to the lack of length and girth. She said she screamed for Diddy to get off her and stop and told him she didn't want to have sex. So this woman is now suing for damages, physical abuse, emotional abuse, trauma, injury, and psychological damage. But yes, something else to deal with, and we'll be talking more about what's happening in court when we come back after Ask Yee. And Chris Brown was arrested. He was arrested actually early this morning in Manchester, England, for allegedly hitting a music producer, Abe Dial, with a tequila bottle. But this was back at the club in 2023. In London. They said he was detained at the hotel and he has been taken into custody where he remains. We will keep you updated on what's going on with that. Megan Thee Stallion has kicked off her Hot Girl Summer with the launch of her new swim line. It's called Hot Girl Swim and it's available starting May 19th. So that's just in a few days. Also, she was just at the launch for the new Airbnb app. And also, she's going to be doing one of those Airbnb originals, which is an experience where you can actually hang out and have ramen and do all the fun things with Megan Thee Stallion. She also shut down the rumors that she's banned from the Met Gala for using her phone. She said, "You guys made that up. We're going to dead these rumors right now." She said, "Oh my God, Megan, you got banned from the Met Gala." "No, I didn't, babe. Like, that's not true. Y'all made that up and ran with it. They love making stuff up. Anna Wintour loves me. That's why my phone was out." So there you have it. All right, and Halle Bailey has been granted sole physical and legal custody of their son, Halo, her and DDG's son, after she has these allegations of abuse against him. She was also granted a temporary order of protection. She alleges that he physically attacked her multiple times following their breakup in October of 2024. She alleges that he smashed her Ring camera, forced her to pay for his mom's flight, and then there was a physical altercation that left her bruised and her tooth chipped. She talked about how he didn't want to talk and refused to tell me when he would bring Halo back when he was going to pick up their son. And then things got physical when she placed Halo in the car seat and asked him to please stop calling her names. She said after that, they were wrestling and it transpired from there. Here's what DDG has to take, because, he's streaming all the time, constantly. And now people are definitely being nosy about this. Here's what he said.
I know it's a lot of people that's trying to be nosy or something, but you might as well leave. That's what you're here for.
All right, so we're going to see how all of this plays out. At this point, these are allegations. And so again, this all has to play out in court. That's why we keep saying alleged and allegations. And that is your Yee Tea. When we come back, we have Ask Yee, 800-292-5150. Call us up. Any question you have, I'm here to help you out. It's Ask Yee. It's way up, 800-292-5150.
Hey, everybody, whether it's relationship or career advice, Angela's dropping facts.
All you should know.
This is Ask Yee.
What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and it's that time for Ask Yee, where I'm going to give you advice based off all the things that I've seen and known in my own lifetime. Now we have Clarissa on the line. Hey, Clarissa.
Hey.
How you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. So what's your question?
Okay, so my 16-year-old went to go spend the weekend with my 20-year-old daughter. And my oldest daughter pulls me to the side and she tells me, like, my youngest daughter, when she goes to her best friend's house, that her best friend's mom passes them marijuana and smokes with them. I smoke, but I don't even do it around my kids. Like, they're not even
and you're not,
around me.
and let alone someone else's kid.
Exactly. So I don't even know how to respond to the situation. And the worst part is my daughter's best friend's birthday is today. So this weekend, she planned a hotel party. I don't have her number either.
Wow,
so,
you need to have that woman's number.
Yeah, because it's usually I'm seeing her, so I don't have her number.
Right. So when you see her, you need to have a conversation, because I can tell, I get it, that's your daughter's best friend, but that's your daughter. That's so irresponsible as a parent. Literally, that's illegal for her to be doing that.
Exactly. And I just have I don't do that with my kids. So it's like, why would you do that with my kids?
You definitely need to talk to her mother and just be like, look, I don't want to bring the kids into this. I just want this to be a conversation with us, but I don't want my daughter smoking. And I know when she comes here, you don't have to say how you know. You can say, I know that when she comes here that, you've smoked with my daughter, and I'm asking you to not do that, because I understand they have their friendship, but I want to be able to trust that when my daughter's here, that she is still abiding by the rules that are in my household. And I wouldn't do that with your daughter either. So I'm asking you to respect me as a parent, knowing that our daughters are friends. I don't want to disrupt their relationship. And you should talk to your daughter about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you also want your kid to be able to come to you about anything.
Right.
And tell her, I don't want you doing that. I am going to talk to her mother and let her know. It's not going to be a combative situation. I want you guys to still be comfortable around each other, but I can't tolerate that. And if it continues on, then you can't be there.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Good advice. Thank you.
That's your baby,
Yes, absolutely. She's literally my baby girl.
Well, thank you. It's a great opportunity for you to have those conversations, because when she goes to college or when she moves out, you want to make sure that she's making the right decision. She doesn't have to do those things. She doesn't have to be a follower or do just what everybody else is doing. Just let her know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do now anyway, so just a rehashed conversation we're going to have.
All right. I commend you for staying so calm.
Woo! I'm telling you. Thank you. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I've been talking about it the past few days. I'm like,
yeah, no, you got to talk to this her mother for sure. But thank you for calling, and good luck. You sound like a great mom.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, coming out of that, when we come back, we got some updates on what's going on currently at this Diddy trial. Cassie is on the stand getting cross-examined by the defense, and we'll tell you what's going on. It's Way Up.
Everybody listen. Yeah. It's what you all been waiting for.
You're tapped in to Way Up with Angela Yee.
All right, it's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm here. My producer, Dan, is here. We've been following this Diddy trial, and they just came back from lunch at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and the judge is asking that the defense wraps up questioning Cassie by tomorrow at lunch, unless there's something extremely important that they didn't get a chance to get to, but that feels like the goal. And so she talked about a lot of things today so far. The jury was shown sexually graphic text messages between Diddy and Cassie that were in 2009. She actually had to read some of those aloud, and she asked for a short break also as she was being cross-examined by defense today. She also talked about using opiates around the time that she sent text messages. She would ask him things like if he had any more pills, and she admitted that she was using that at the time that those videos were sent. She also mentioned deleting a video in these text messages, but testified she wasn't sure what kind of video she was referring to in the messages and couldn't be sure if it was a freak-off recording or not. Other things she testified about was the fact that Diddy was the second older man that she dated. She also dated Ryan Leslie prior to that for about 3 years when she was 18 or 19. And then after that, that's when she started dating Diddy. She also, in these text messages, told him that she needed to feel safe and that some of these experiences that they were having, these quote-unquote freak-offs, she felt a little dirty and grimy as opposed to sexual and spontaneous, and that she needed to feel safe and like home. Other things she talked about was that she and Diddy had conversations about a swingers lifestyle and all of this. So basically, it feels like she's being pretty honest on the stand, though, because there's things that she's saying that I know people are ripping apart, like, why would she say that? Or, oh, we don't believe her. But she's also being really honest, and I think that's important. What do you think, Dan, when you're seeing all this?
It's just got to be so hard to relive this. I can't imagine.
And she's pregnant.
And her husband's there.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. She discusses also the influence that Diddy had on how she dressed. She would have to send pictures of her outfits, but she also said that he had good style when questioned about that. Other things she talked about was she felt like he was an addict, as far as an addict addicted to success. That's what she's saying that she felt like. And it felt like she was falling in love. That's in the text messages as well. But they were in a relationship for 11 years. She testified that she loved him and believed that he loved her, and that she fell in love with his, quote, real personality. And so it was those freak-offs, I think, that really got in the way of what it was.
I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think the prosecution is potentially focusing too much on like the sex life rather than potentially like the sex trafficking and like all the major charges?
Well, what the prosecution is trying to show is that they just had a sex life that was consensual. Mm-hmm. And so having freak-offs and liking sex and doing things that are not, quote unquote, traditionally normal is not a crime. So what the prosecution is trying to establish, it feels like, is that, look, you was with it and you was having fun. This is not a crime. Because I see a lot of people having comments about, well, what's the crime in this? And if he was abusive, that's not what he's on trial for, right? There's everything he did with Cassie is not what this trial is about, but it's also establishing this pattern of him being coercive and having her do things like break off relationships because he's threatening to put out sex tapes of her.
Right, but with the charges that he's facing, do you think that this is the right angle to be taking?
I think she's just the first.
I mean, it is early.
Yeah, she's the first.
Yeah.
She's the first person.
Yeah.
She's been, and she's a big celebrity, so people are paying attention to this. And so I do believe what they're doing now, and she wants to. I believe she also wants to tell her story because she wants to tell her story before someone else does.
This is fair.
All right. Well, that is. Oh, and I was talking about the defense, but you're saying the prosecution needs to. Yeah. I mean, I think with Cassie, that's not as relevant,
right?
Because that's going to be with some of these other escorts and people like that.
Okay.
All right. Well,
we have someone on the line that wants to talk to you, Ange.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we do.
Okay. About what?
His name is Sean, and he seems to wonder why Cassie is waiting so long to talk about it.
Cassie? Oh, why she waited so long to come forward? I mean. All right, you know what? That's a lot. That's a lot of people. You know what? Let's put him through. We'll talk to him when we come back. 800-292-5150. You guys can always ask questions too. It's way up.
We're about to do this. One of the most famous women in radio. We're talking about Angela Yee.
You're way up with Angela Yee.
Please believe that.
What's up is Way Up with Angela Yee, and we just finished talking about what was happening in court today as Cassie is on her third day on the stand. And my producer Dan told me someone was on the line and had a question about Cassie and what's going on with these accusations. Well, let's talk to him now. What's up, Steven? What's your question?
Why did she stand for so long? And what made her come forward now instead of coming forward earlier? And I'm hoping that, she didn't do this for fame and fortune.
Some people would say that he groomed her because she was pretty young when she was under his tutelage, right? She was first dating Ryan Leslie, and then she ended up with Diddy. And then after that, it was kind of like she was doing whatever it was that he wanted her to do. Now, she was also under the guise that this was going to be for her music career, because she did have a career in music. Let's not forget that. And it felt like kind of when she got with Diddy, that all stalled. Now, do you have any daughters?
I have one daughter.
How old?
She's 27.
So just picture if she was, say, 19 years old. You're at a point in your life where maybe you're trying to, make it big. You're trying to make a name for yourself, trying to have a career. and you meet somebody like Puff, and you know he is a very powerful person, right? Like, you understand there were a lot of people that were scared to come forward. And one of the things they're talking about in this case is when Cassie was dating Kid Cudi, he did allegedly have his car blown up. There's cases that he's settled. There's other things that have happened, but she maybe have felt like her life was in danger. But one thing she's been staying on the stand is that whenever she dated somebody else or would leave, he would threaten to put out these tapes. He had a lot of tapes of her doing these freak-offs and having sex. And so imagine somebody tells you, or somebody tells your daughter, I have a sex tape, and if you leave me, I'm going to put that sex tape out, and it's going to be embarrassing and humiliating for you. Or imagine somebody who you feel like has your career in their hands and is a really powerful person in the industry is like, you'll never work again.
A similar situation happened to my daughter. I had to go all the way to Georgia to get my daughter.
And that's fortunate that she was able to call you and that you went and got her. And a lot of times it's not the first time that something happens. It's like a repeated pattern of behavior and people stay. And she also has said on the stand that she felt like she didn't want to get him in trouble, because a lot of times people do protect the person who's abusing them, right? We see this all the time in relationships where women stay with men who are abusive. And people from the outside looking in are like, why didn't you just leave? But sometimes there's a lot more to it than just leaving. If it was that simple, everybody would leave when it happens.
Correct. I agree with that 100%.
On a smaller scale, I think there's a lot of times in life that we don't always stand up and do the right thing, or we tolerate situations, or we might be in fear that something could be taken away from us, and you stay at a job or in a relationship too long that you know isn't right. Most people, I'm going to be honest, don't speak up when things wrong are happening. And even in this trial, we see Cassie talking about going to D-Rock, going to people. Other people knew this was going on. There were escorts who said they saw Diddy beat her. But when you feel like this is happening and no one's doing anything to help me or protect me, it makes you feel really isolated and alone, like there's nothing you can do.
Well, yeah, I hope your female audience is listening and they take note from this. And I'm Steven. I'm calling you from Pink Molly in the Bronx.
All right. Well, thank you for calling. And I think these conversations are important to have, because until something happens to you or to someone you love, people don't sometimes understand.
Correct.
But I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right. Well, again, you can always call us up, 800-292-5150. Because remember, this is your show, so we love to hear from you. And when we come back, as you know, we have the last word.
Tap in. Tap in and get your voice heard.
What the word is.
Here's the last word on Way Up with Angela Yee.
What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee. And again, happy Thursday, a.k.a. Friday Eve. When I tell y'all there is so much going on, I'm about to start doing a Stories I Didn't Get To segment, like after the show. Because there's so many things today that we didn't even have a chance to discuss. Again, Cassie is on the stand. I think tomorrow at lunch is going to be when they're done cross-examining her. So she can finally get out of there. I know it has to be like really draining to have to be up there answering all these super personal and embarrassing questions. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us today and for tuning in and talking about basketball wives. Team Evelyn or Team Jennifer, a lot of you guys called in and had some things to say about what's going on with the two of them. They were best friends, and then the falling out happened, and now it feels like it's not stopping. Evelyn does not like Jennifer's husband. She's calling him a felon. Jennifer was like, look at your own house. And a lot of you called in for that because this is your show, and as we know, you have the last word.
I'm Team Jen, all the way. Evelyn started it. She went to that baby shower. She was friends with the game, and then her daughter got pregnant by the game. When she was friends with the game's baby mama, like, that's trashy. Like, she's always had it for Jen. She's always been jealous of Jen, and Jen is so quiet. She just minds her business, and I believe she has a lot of receipts, and I hope she brings them out this season.
Hey, Angela. I am Team Evelyn all the way. Jennifer is delusional, and she just seems to think that her man does no wrong whatsoever.
Going way up, turn up with Angela Yee